and you know this, you're better at this. You guys both are actually the whole betting thing than I am. But they're now a 3-point dog, 4-point dog.
3 points is what it is.
So it's moved 5 points. So for the uneducated in the betting world like me and others who are listening, when that happens, is there an injury that people don't know about? Take us through kind of a standard operating procedure when that happens.
Usually, sometimes the line will be set in a way in which the public will just gravitate to one side. Vegas's goal is always to get half the money on one side and half the money on the other. That's how they guarantee they're going to make money on the game. So as the money gets out of tilt, they'll move the line to entice people to bet the other side to even things out. But when something like this happens, it is very, very odd to see a team open as a 1-point favorite and to have it move basically in a day to them being a 3-point underdog. So yeah, anytime you see that kind of movement, because again, just to give people an idea, like when you lose your starting quarterback, like that might be the difference in the line moving like 2 to 3 points. Like, so the line doesn't fluctuate off of one single injury. Quarterback center affects the line more than you would think it would. But for the most part, even the Dallas Cowboys aren't going to have DeMarcus Lawrence or Micah Parsons. That doesn't greatly affect the line. It does by about a point and a half. So when you see this happen, it absolutely raises your eyebrow of, wow, is there some bad news in Gainesville, that is not been, released to the public yet? Is there 3 or 4 players? And I think, again, looking at the UNLV story from last week, where Florida is in their season, they've played 4 games. For a lot of the players that I would imagine most of their roster has participated in all 4 of those games. So you're getting ready to play your 5th game, which is going to be your year of eligibility. You cannot redshirt from that point on. So I don't know. Are we getting ready to find out that 7 Florida kids have decided they're not going to continue on? I mean, it hasn't leaked anywhere, but trust me, Vegas will know about it before the media knows about it.
I wonder if it's a play. Well, that's right. I wonder if it's something happened. It
seems like this is pretty odd movement.
I mean, is it
particularly considering UCF just got destroyed by Colorado?
Yeah, it's often, and tell me if I'm wrong or correct me if I'm wrong, a group of things or one player of significance. If the word
it would have to be a quarterback.
If the word came out that Mertz is hurt.
Correct, but because they have Lagway, I don't think the line would move 4 points on them not having Gregory.
Not that much, right?
I think it would be something like more of a mass, like and again, I'm not trying to panic anybody. I'm just saying that what this line has done is rare and often means there is some sort of bad news with that team that the public is unaware of.
And I almost wonder, unless there's a horde of players. See, I would think losing Mertz would move the line a bunch because he's your quarterback. But you're right, he's splitting time and he's not exactly the Heisman favorite. But I would think it would. The only other thing that I would think would move it this much, or would certainly cause this much attention, if it's something even bigger than a host of players. Is he fired? Is something happened with the coach? Is he suspended? Is somebody, you know what I mean? Right. It almost seems like there's, it is a big move now. This thing's really,
again, for a game that's not going to have a lot of public interest.
And I think UCF has a better football team than Florida. But for UCF suddenly to be a 3 or 4 point favorite in Gainesville at night, that's over a Florida team that just won by double digits on the road in the SEC. That is weird. And to your point, a UCF team that just got kind of gutted at their own place by a Colorado team that's okay.
Right.
But no one thinks Colorado is going to play with the elite teams. So it's an odd circumstance. If UCF does beyond the betting lines,
right.
If UCF wins the game, and if they win it by double digits, how damaging is that to Billy Napier right now? This is you. With all due respect, it's still UCF. And if UCF came in, and by the way, when I was in college, it wasn't called UCF. It was called Florida Tech. Did you know that?
I did not.
It was called Florida Tech back in the day. Okay, sorry. I'm dropping knowledge on people that aren't 100 years old like I am. But but I mean, if all of a sudden Florida Tech comes into your place at night in front of your 90,000 and puts 34-13 on you, does that spell the end now?
I certainly. I mean, I think the die is cast for Billy Napier.
Well, it is, but
anyway,
I mean, but does it expedite the process?
I think it would certainly it would certainly have to. How could it not? I mean, it would be such a terrible loss for Florida's program, particularly if they got routed. And again, what that would tell you if Florida does get routed, you had a bye week to prepare for this, to prepare for UCF.
Right.
You can't get in front of reporters on Monday if you're Billy Napier and say, we had the greatest Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday bye week practices that I've ever been associated with, which is what he said. And then,
which is what he always says.
Yeah. But he said the way they handled the bye was incredibly impressive. They got a lot of great work done. And then if you go out and lose to UCF, I think if you're still emotionally invested in it, like I'm not, I know he's getting fired. So I'm beyond every game being a verdict on Billy Napier, because my verdict is in, and I think the verdict is in. And people could say, well, what if he wins out? Okay, he's not going to win out. I mean, we know that. He's not going to – you're not going to look up and he's won 8 of these games. So you know that so I think for me, I'm expecting them to lose. So that obviously I wasn't really expecting them to lose to Miami because I'm an idiot. I wasn't really – I guess with A&M I kind of was. But even then there was a little bit of a sense of maybe Miami is just like really, really good. A&M's got a new coach. You're in the swamp. And but I'm numb to it now. So I think the emotional part of it, there will be some fans that are like, you just can't – the university can't stomach this. They've got to fire him. But I think the die is cast. And like I've told you, I think it makes a lot of sense as long as they're still listening to him. Now, if they get routed, that would be an indication that they're not. But if they're still listening to him, let him coach all 12.
Yeah.
It reduces the buyout by like $5.5 million, and just fire him the morning after the FSU game.
My thought is this, that you're right. Most Gator fans I won't say I expect them to lose. I mean, let me rephrase that. If I had to bet on the game, I'd bet on UCF. If I had to bet even straight up. But I'm not convinced they can't win the game. I'm looking forward to watching the game because I think they may. I'm not looking forward to watching Tennessee or Georgia or Texas. I'm kind of looking forward to watching this one. So it's because I think they could win. But so even though I'm like you a little bit, I've lost the emotional connection to them. That's still different than watching them lose by 3 touchdowns to UCF in their state in Florida Stadium. So my point is, no matter what you think. There's a difference between watching what you expect happening or having what you expect happening and then actually watching it happen. It's just different, man. It's just different when you see it, no matter how much you think it's going to happen. Watching something that's that out of place, at least from the history we know, watching it happen might be different. That's kind of the point. Watching it happen, even though you expected it might. So, I
mean, I think you can make the case that losing to UCF in the swamp is more embarrassing than, let's say, going to Rocky Top and losing 51-10.
I agree with that. And I there's no doubt I agree with that. Having said that, the flip side of it is, what if they win the game? And what if they win the game 31-14? Has he gained some momentum? He's going to get blasted in Rocky Top. I know that. But has he gained some momentum that helps them when they come home against Kentucky? Is there the flip side of it? Does the flip side exist? That what if they did have this great practice he talked about? I do like their 2 quarterbacks. I think the one thing that helps them, I think Graham Mertz is going to be good in this game. Now, it may be a high-scoring game. They may lose 48-31, but I think Graham Mertz is going to be good in this game. I guess that's the point. There's some storylines here. There's some intrigue here.
Oh, it's a fascinating game. I mean, I would never argue that. I think there's a lot to like about this game from a football standpoint, but I think in terms of Napier flipping the verdict back into where it's at least a question, is he'd have to win Saturday. He'd then have to either beat Tennessee and Rocky Top, Georgia and Jacksonville, or go to Texas and win. If he were to get one of those 3, even losing at home to Kentucky, he maybe. I think it's still going to be really tough for him. But until he's going to have to beat Tennessee on the road, Georgia in Jacksonville, or Texas in Austin, I think, to even remotely get back in the conversation of, can we entrust him with the 2025 Florida team? And I don't think that's going to happen.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here. Thanks so much for checking out our 1010XL Florida Gators page. If you're looking for more Florida content, subscribe now. But if you're looking for some professional football, NFL content, head over to our 1010XL Jaguars page.